Було б найкраще так. Ви мали голову з той, що тоді хтось мусить найближчий, коли з ним був. Він тоді знає цю ситуацію.
Михайло, де є?
He's here again. Hi, mate.
All right. Треба щось нести.
Ні, там певний тут є. Може батарії можна.
Наразі. Наразі? Я то ночував.
Може Брадфорд. Їдете під Фельбах знову чи ні?
Цього року ні.
Їдете до Парижа?
Ні, нас не попросили.
Один транспарентний головний. Інший транспарентний просимо тут тримати на номері.
I just saw that. Did you go for
Це вода.
На дорозі будемо
Добре, як ви.
Мають стару станцію.
Їхати по собі.
Get them over safely, nice organised group. So if we can get the 200 back, you can tell me roughly where they are. So we stop the
Just says it depends whether it's best.
Здорово.
Що ми за собою до Петра має Ігора Симона? А я...
Nearly 3,000, or even smaller, 3,000 during the explosion.
Where does your information come from? Because everybody else is saying that there weren't that many dead.
Yes, our information comes from Ukraine, from the with whom we were able to communicate. telephone mostly, and they are convinced, and they try to convince us because we also asked them about whether it is true, etc., etc., and they said that it's true. And most probably even more than that number I just...
Can we just summarize that? Your contacts in the Ukraine are saying that 3,000 people have died already.
Yes, 3 or more, even more than 3,000. But quite several times, very strongly, they underline that over 3,000 people already died because of
On what do they base these figures? Because they're against all the official figures and against even what Western experts say.
Well, they base their figures on the knowledge on the spot. And of course, most probably they receive the information from people in Chernobyl or in Kiev. There are quite a lot of people who escaped from Chernobyl and the surrounding areas. And all those information is from those people on the spot.
What do you hope to achieve by today's demonstration?
Well, first of all, what we would like to achieve after paying the respect to those who died and of course to those who are suffering and will suffer. First of all, we would like to achieve the closeness of all the atomic reactors in Ukraine. And there are at present somewhere between 14 and 16 reactors, atomic reactors, and all those reactors are built in very densely populated areas. That's one point to achieve by this demonstration. And of course, this demonstration supports the feeling of the people in Ukraine, which is more or less, or probably absolutely the same as we are trying to say here today. And another thing we would like to achieve is the removal of all rocket bases along the south and southwest borders of Ukraine. And of course, the third point we are making today is that they should inform the people, give proper information to the people in Ukraine as regards the Chernobyl disaster, etc., etc. And they should help the people to defend themselves from the consequences as good as it is possible under the circumstances.
When did you last have contact with Kiev? There are people, there are reports that people there are starting to show signs of radiation sickness. Have you had any recent reports?
Not me personally, but our people in London and also not ordinary people, but representatives of the association were in contact even yesterday, before yesterday.
What did the contact say yesterday about signs of radiation sickness?
Well, they confirmed more or less what has been said before, that in Kiev there are quite a lot of people whose physical appearance indicates or says that they are heavily affected by the radiations. Hospitals are full by sick people, and also that even the trees, the leaves of the trees are also beginning to get yellow, although it's just the beginning of the spring. And also one
The leaves on the trees are going.
Yes, on the trees. And also one source mentioned that also there were quite a lot of dead fish in the river. That's the latest.
That's much. Thank you very much.
Just hold for 2 seconds.
Yes.
One more thing, just a minute.
Just 1 moment.
He doesn't know. Just a minute.
Yeah, it's okay. We're just doing some work.
Yes. Also, one source mentioned and also underlined.
Sorry.
Yes. One source mentioned and also underlined yesterday that in Chernobyl the Soviet Russian authorities are using prisoners, Ukrainian prisoners and prisoners for the job that they are carrying, trying to stop the radiation escaping from the reactor.
I mean, how reliable are these sources?
Well, I would say that they are because a few things we heard, say after 4 or 5 days after the explosion, were more or less confirmed later on. I myself gave once information to some of the British newspapers regarding the number of people who have evacuated from that area. And I mentioned over 60,000 people were evacuated. And on that time, the official sources said that they evacuated only 49,000 people. But at present, it's well over 83 has been mentioned in today's newspapers of people. So those sources are reliable.
Thank you. Just stay there a moment while we have a just to introduce you as to who you are and your type.
Sent yesterday to the press.
Oh yes.
Thank you. That's about Mr.
But a member of parliament here.
But there is
Sure, yes.
there is no information about the prisoners in this.
Could you be so kind as to write your name down in English and your position, your type? Thank you. That's quite nice actually. Prisoners are cleaning up.
It has been in the press this morning about the Soviet leaders. Stefan Trotsky is the chairman of the European Freedom Council, and I'm the vice chairman of the English Derby of the EFC. It has been put in the press this morning that the leaders, the Russian Soviet leaders, they was protected in the bunkers while they was surveying all the damage that was being done, and they was protected from all forms of radiation. So it's fairly obvious what information that's coming through is pretty authentic. And as you know, they closed the reservoir in Canada because of the radiation.
Association of Ukrainians in Great Britain. Okay, I'm sorry. Dmitry, that's what D.
M-Y-T-R-I-R.
No end. How do you pronounce that? Dmitry. Okay. Very nice. Thank you. We'll follow you around now.
I'll go now, John. Yesterday morning, someone telephoned us, this association, but the person couldn't get his name.
Sorry.
Was asking the same question, whether we know that prisoners have been employed there.
Well, I mean, it's the sort of thing that everybody would sort of suspect.
Then but in the evening, from independent source, the same news came to us. Independently and from the whether it is
Пане посли, вельми шановні пані і панове, представники українських організацій у Великій Британії, представники білоруської, литовської, латвійської і інших чужинецьких громад, дорогі українці, представники багатьох українських громад у Великій Британії. Вітаючи вас від імені нашого Союзу
демонстрації я з глибоким смутком і ще з глибшою тривогою пригадую, що в суботу 26 квітня в старинному місті Чорнобилю, розположеному на 130 кілометрів на північ від столиці України Києва, загорівся, а рівночасно і вибух у повітря атомовий реактор, від якого, як повідомляють українці з Києва та інших місцевостей, згинуло понад 3000 людей у цьому часі, а багато інших зазнали важкого поранення від висадженого вибухом у повітря радіоактивного опаду та домів. Як вам відомо, перша вістка про цей вибух наспіла до нас на захід щойно в надвечірних годинах у понеділок 28 квітня, себто повних 2 дні з гаком від часу, коли в Чорнобилю та околицях гинули або затроювалися на життя радіоактивними опадами тисячі, а ще точніше десятки тисяч невинних українських людей в Україні, людей на Білорусії, Литві, Латвії, Північно-Західній Польщі тощо. Згідно з дотепер відомими даними, большевицька Москва та її чиновники на Кремлі, які збудували не 1, але 4 реактори в Чорнобилю, а 2 добудовують, на протязі перших 36 годин не звільняла загрожених людей в Чорнобилю і в поблизьких околицях від місця замешкання і не поробила ніяких практичних кроків, щоб їх освідомити уже існуючій важкій небезпеці. Евакуація населення з Чорнобиля і Чорнобильського району розпочала щойно по тижневі часу, коли перші хмари радіоактивного пилу досягли берегів Великої Британії, прокотившись сливе цілою Європою та досягнувши також скандинавських країн. Найновіші відомості говорять про великі опади радіоактивного попелу в Києві, зараз переповненого втікачами з Чорнобильського району, про затроєння радіоактивними елементами вод у Дніпрі, про людей з глибокими познаками радіоактивних поранень на обличчях, очах тощо. Але ми ще практично нічого конкретного не знаємо про населення Полісся і північних земель Волині, крізь які прокотились ще у днях від 29 до 30 квітня радіоактивні хмари, бо тоді якраз у північно-західному напрямі дули вітри і гнали ті хмари крізь Полісся і Волинь у Скандинавію, а другою відногою Галичину, Закарпаття, Балкани, Південну, Центральну і Західну Європу. Обличчі тієї московсько-большевицькими руками спричиненої величезної трагедії для всієї України, наша сьогоднішня демонстрація має особливе значення, що ми просимо усіх запам'ятати і по нашій сьогоднішній демонстрації діяти, що принаймні в якийсь спосіб причинитись до зменшення трагедії в Україні. Як ми знаємо, крім знищених та ще уцілілих атомових реакторів у Чорнобилю, в Україні в 6 чи 7 густо заселених місцевостях збудованих наша сьогоднішня демонстрація присвячена в основному таким цілям. Висловив глибокого співчуття всім українцям і другим національностям Чорнобилю і в околиці, які загинули або були важко поранені внаслідок великої радіоактивності, спричиненої вибухом атомового реактора. Друге, висловити духовно-моральне співчуття і підтримку усім евакуованим з Чорнобиля та околиць, як і всьому українському народові в Україні у зв'язку із лихом і трагічними наслідками від нього для сотень тисяч, а може і мільйонів людей в Україні. Це трагічне лихо, що навістило Україну 26 квітня і в наступних днях, не повстало з уваги на господарсько-економічні потреби українського народу. Побудова 7 комплексів атомових реакторів на українській землі була подиктована політичними та мілітарно-стратегічними мотивами московсько-большевицьких імперіалістів в Україні. Висловити домагання до Москви, щоб вона замкнула усі 14 чи 16 атомових реакторів в Україні і вивезла їх із густо заселених місцевостей в менш заселені або в незаселені місцевості Російської Федеративної Республіки. 4. У південній і в південно-західних полосах України розташовані численні бази атомових ракет, спрямованих на різні країни Південної і Західної Європи, для обслуги яких і для других мілітарних цілей побудовано в Україні біля 16 атомових реакторів, що продукують не тільки електрику, але також плутоніум та інші матеріали для атомових ракет. Ми домагаємося, щоб всі ці ракетні гнізда і ракети були усунені з української землі, бо Україна не має ніяких імперіалістичних цілей супроти світу і не має потреби боятися за свою безпеку перед цим світом. 5. Дотепер і зараз усі телефонічні контакти українців у західному світі до своїх родин в Україні йдуть через Москву, що надзвичайно утруднює ці контакти, а від 26 квітня дуже їх утруднює так, що багато людей, які хотіли б говорити зі своїми рідними в Україні, не мають можливості тим шляхом з ними сконтактуватися. Ми домагаємося відкриття прямих телефонічних ліній з України на захід, головно в усі ті міста і села, куди евакуовано понад 85 тисяч людей з Чорнобиля, Чорнобильського району та довколишніх других районів. Ми також підтримуємо домагання західного світу в тому, щоб Москва відкрила свої тісно замкнені кордони для Міжнародної комісії експертів для перегляду причин Чорнобильського атомового вибуху і його наслідків на населення України та Білорусі, як також і для перевірки того, як Москва справляється з лікарською, матеріальною та іншими опіками поранених радіоактивним опадом і евакуованих українців. Ми осуджуємо у своїх виступах большевицьку Москву за те, що на протязі цілого першого тижня, або і більше як тижня, після атомового вибуху в Чорнобилю, вона не поінформувала населення в Україні і довколишніх республіках про серйозність тієї катастрофи і не подала перших порад населенню, як воно повинно самоохоронятися від поранень та пошкоджень від радіоактивних елементів.
А тепер, пані і панове, я
Попрошу представника головної управи СУБу менш-більш то саме сказати по-англійському.
Honourable Member of Parliament Mr. Terlecki, representatives of national communities, British friends, members of all Ukrainian communities, ladies and gentlemen. In the last 100 years, hand in hand with the advancement of technology, newspapers, television, radio have all provided us with an always faster and more efficient process of conveying information, making us constantly more aware of current events taking place throughout 2/3 of this Earth's populated world. Strangely, 1/3 remains shrouded behind a satanic mask defined in the free Western world as the Iron Curtain. Like the iron that is opaque, it is impenetrable to transmission of information because it conceals the deadly communist tyranny, the mass murders, the brutal oppression of nations, suppressing their rights not only to an individual existence, but even forbidding the freedom of free thought and speech, thereby suffocating all fundamental human values. This same Russian demonic imperialistic communist system, headed now by Gorbachev and his henchmen, continues its attempts to annihilate a race whose historical roots and ethnic origin are centuries older and stronger, and whose lands are blessed with rich agricultural and mineral resources. As in 1932-33, where the relatively primitive methods of Stalin's imposed famine on Ukraine were enforced, where 7 million innocent people were forcibly starved to their deaths, Russia actively denied the existence of such a situation. So too today, Moscow conceals and suppresses in a veil of deception and disinformation the true sequence of events at Chernobyl and the subsequent horrendous and lethal implications. Chernobyl, the nuclear power plant situated 80 miles from Kyiv, experienced the worst nuclear accident in history. The Soviet-Russian authorities, by not allowing for any legislative control or public opinion, have recklessly pressed ahead with their nuclear program with complete disregard for human safety. They have built more nuclear plants than any other country with the exception of France and the US. But the startling difference is they have been built more dangerously, lacking the secondary safety walls which help to contain radiation should a leakage or explosion occur. The accident at Chernobyl exposes not only Moscow's technological incompetence, but also their criminal negligence and their total disregard for human safety. All 7 nuclear power stations in Ukraine, which house between 14 and 16 reactors, are of the same antiquated design and are constructed in very close proximity to densely populated major cities. These hazardous power stations were forcibly built on the evil commands of Moscow, despite Ukraine's abundant mineral wealth, which includes coal and iron ore. Ukraine itself does not require nuclear sources of power. Moscow has deviously sited these nuclear power stations in Ukraine, therefore, solely for strategical, political and military purposes. In case of war, Ukraine will unwillingly serve as Moscow's buffer zone, acting as the Soviet Union's nuclear wasteland in a nuclear exchange. the habitual, obsessive, official secrecy of the Soviet-Russian authorities is accentuated by the Chernobyl catastrophe. Ladies and gentlemen, we must ask ourselves, would we have known that such a disaster had occurred had not the winds carried the radioactive spillage over to the Scandinavian countries? The answer is quite obvious. We would have known less, or worse still, we would have known nothing at all. From the time that the accident occurred, Moscow has perpetually lied. It firstly lied and denied that the disaster had ever even happened. When pressured into acknowledging the catastrophe, it lied to the scale and to the extent of the human casualties. It persistently lies about the sequence of events. What are the radiation sources? How many reactors did explode? Has the fire truly been contained? How many people have died and will die or suffer consequently from the accident? Why doesn't Moscow tell us? One who lives in deceit and lies is afraid of the truth, and I suggest that Moscow is a liar and should be treated as such by the West. Ukrainians, Belarusians, Poles and many other countries who were directly affected have not been adequately informed as to the immediate dangers of radiation and how to minimize them, as well as to the long-term far-reaching effects which will affect generations to come. We are gathered in London today from all over Britain to act as a voice for those who cannot speak out in their own defense. To them, we extend our sympathy and pledge our moral support. We condemn Moscow's criminal negligence and disregard for the values of human life. We demand an international commission of experts to assess the damage to the population and to the environment of Ukraine and all other affected countries, both in the USSR and in Eastern Europe. We demand that Moscow's criminal negligence be reviewed by an international court. We demand that the Soviet-Russian government dismantles all the nuclear power plants and missile bases in Ukraine, takes them back to Russia, and gets out of Ukraine. We implore the British public to petition the government to demand from Moscow that a direct telephone link be established between the affected areas of Ukraine and the West, so that Ukrainians in the free world may learn of the fate and whereabouts of their relatives in Ukraine. The British government must use all forms of pressure against the closed nature of society of the Soviet Union, both now and in the future, so that another Chernobyl will never happen again. For centuries, Ukraine has amassed mountains of corpses, rivers of blood. We bear witness to yet another potential genocide in our homeland today, which will affect generations of the future. Hear us well, Moscow. We have still not surrendered. Ukraine has not and will not ever die.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we would ask Mr. Terlecki, Member of Parliament, to address our rally here as well. Mr. Terlecki.
Mr. Chairman, friends, I am honored and privileged to stand before you as a Ukrainian-born member of British Parliament that speaks for itself about freedom and democracy in the United Kingdom. And it speaks for itself about the atrocity and silence and lies that have been spoken in Kremlin since the Chernobyl disaster. I have visited my homeland just approximately 2 months ago. I visited the beautiful Kiev. 2.5 million Ukrainians in Kiev, and not a single person speaks Ukrainian. This is a shame on Kremlin, and its apparatchiks who disallow Ukrainian language to be spoken and written in the capital city of the Ukraine. 50 million Ukrainians are being denied the freedom of democracy, as we in the West, or some of us, are taking it for granted. I personally feel that we here today should bear in mind our thoughts and our prayers must go out to the Ukrainian people, to the people in Poland, in Belarusia, in Sweden, in Denmark, in Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, to all those countries where this catastrophe, the negligence of Kremlin, which I hold Mr. Gorbachev responsible personally for it, those people are suffering now. They will suffer in the future. It may well be that hundreds and millions of people are going to suffer in the future because of the negligence and irresponsibility as it has occurred in Chernobyl. I feel that until such time that the conspiracy of silence by Kremlin is broken and the truth is being told, not a single grain, not a single ounce of butter, not a single kilo of beef, not a single liter of wine must be sold to Soviet Union. Until such time that the truth is being told, and when the truth is being told, and if the West wishes to trade with Soviet Union, then it must trade at par and not give our food away at the taxpayers' expense. Have we forgotten? Do we remember, as it has been so eloquently put by the previous speaker, the genocide, the artificial starvation in 1932, when 7 million people, Ukrainian people, have died and 3 million children amongst them? Never in a field of human conflict have so many suffered so much for so long. We are the custodies of freedom and democracy that has been passed on to us by our fathers. And here we are enjoying it in the United Kingdom. The Soviet regime are the custody of slavery, slave labor camps, terror and prosecution. We've got to make sure that they do not pass that type of terror on to the next generation. How wonderful it is to see that we have people here of all persuasions, political and otherwise. We've got police around us, not armed. Don't interfere. They're just here to protect peace and freedom and democracy. Well, I have witnessed different police. I have witnessed different police just approximately 2 months ago in Moscow, in Kiev, and in Stanislavl, or as it is called now, Ivano-Frankivsk. And I can tell you that the British police force, the British bobbies, are the best in the world. And let me tell you one more thing. Where are the CND, the do-gooders, who are protesting against the nuclear disarmament? Where are they? They're checking out of their responsibility. Why are they not with us, standing shoulder to shoulder, and speak the truth and demand, and hold Mr. Gorbachev responsible for speaking the truth? Because if a catastrophe on the scale in Chernobyl would have happened in the United Kingdom, or in America, or in France, then we would have had here hundreds of thousands of do-gooders, the militants, the CND protesting, and the American embassy perhaps by now would have been half burned. But are we going to see hundreds of thousands of CND joining us now and marching to the Russian embassy? I doubt very much indeed. This is the irresponsibility and the true face of the propaganda that are playing into the Russian hands. We, as witnesses, as the apostles of freedom and democracy and tyranny and oppression which we have left behind, let our message be quite clear to those who believe that grass on the other side is greener. And that is, let them pack their bags, get out and stay out. We know different. Ladies and gentlemen, all I can say is that the tragedy is not finished yet, regrettably, in the Ukraine or in Chernobyl. But let us hope that the tragedy will not continue, that our loved ones and dear ones, friends and relatives will not suffer, and above all, the little children. But whatever happened, our voice must not be silenced. We must speak against the regime of the totalitarian state. We must speak against Gorbachev and his apparatchik until such time that they speak the truth to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Terlecki. Now we invite the representative of the Belarusian community to address the rally as well.
Mr. Chairman, and all ladies and gentlemen present here. As Belarusian representative on great number of Belarusians residing in Great Britain, we came today to express our solidarity, first of all, with you people here, expressing deep feelings to our suffering nations. On the clouds of Kremlin, our nations lived through many tragedies. To testify that we are present here, and many of us already on several places in free world, we survived. Maybe it is higher providence directs us to testify to further events. But this last tragedy, it differs from previous. In this last one, we are more united than ever with the free world. It is opening eyes for free world now, what we've been asking to see, what we've been asking to hear. Now they know that the Minsk and Kiev cannot speak on behalf of their people. Free world has to listen to the Moscow. And I think we could accept this evidence that is a truth spoken now about Soviet sort of face of socialism. We're not we're not betraying socialism if it would be product of our peoples. But we are here because none of such flavor of socialism we could witness. Totalitarian regime devastated our lives, and we finished with it, and thank God, maybe forever. Let us rejoice that we in this free country and the freedom and these clouds no longer terrorizing us like those of Kremlin. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we would like to come forward the representative of the Lithuanian Society. Lithuanian.
Mr. Chairman, Member of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, in a sympathy with you all, because the one way I can express, your families in Ukraine and at the same time in Lithuania suffered and will suffer what happened of the tragedy in Chernobyl. In anxiety, we are sharing with you together, and we know and we see what happened, that Soviet authorities incapable to deal with situation, not only on a local level, but on outside its borders. If it's not went, we would never learn maybe about that tragedy. But because unfortunate, it's happened that these things come out outside Soviet borders, and the borders which never mind what they building, iron curtains, Berlin walls, but the radiation and winds don't know the borders is come out, and the world learn what happened. But obviously the Soviet authorities on the local level and in Moscow try from beginning to cover up, but his tragedy was too great. I think that in the future good lesson Soviet had to learn, that they have now in the future to cover news from the outside world and how to be responsible, because this situation is the maybe first in the future to come. There is a building power stations in a big in Lithuania, in Ukraine, and the rest of Soviet Union. In Lithuania there was voices already rise, and the prevention society which founded in Lithuania to protect nature resources and nature and so on. But Soviet authorities in Moscow ignored, never taken notice of the local population protest and notices which they sounded to Moscow. We only hope that this tragedy, however we don't know yet result yet, that this will learn not only Soviet authorities to break that totalitarian regime irresponsible, and the West would learn in the future with whom they are dealing. That irresponsibility which is had to be broken, had to be changed in the future, much better situation, and that we hope that as a result of that we must have some light and some freedom as a result of this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and now we would like the representative of the Polish Solidarity Campaign to address the rally.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm representative of Polish Solidarity Campaign, which is a British-Polish group that supports Solidarność in Poland. Now, of course, the Polish people are very sympathetic to all the people of Eastern Europe, because all of them rather, are in a similar situation. Not just at the moment with the cloud, the radioactive cloud that's passed over from the Ukraine to Poland and is spreading right across Europe, but a similar situation in that the Polish people have not got their own elected representatives who they want. They have not got their own free trade unions. They've not got their own freedom. And in this, the Polish people are similar to all those people behind the border of the Soviet Union, the Ukrainians, the Latvians, the Lithuanians, the Estonians, and all the others outside the Soviet Union, but in the larger Soviet bloc. So we're at one in that. There is a message from Lech Wałęsa
But I won't be giving it to you. I think the unity of this demonstration could well be shown by the fact that it'll be a Ukrainian speaker later who will deliver the message from Lech Wałęsa and not from me. I was going to say quite a lot of things, but many of the previous speakers have already said them, so I'm not going to take your time up by repeating them. I will just tell you there is a leaflet, there is a petition that is being circulated here, and it's quite mild, and possibly even the CND would find that they might be able to sign it and maybe even present it, or be one of the people presenting it to the embassy. Though they're not here today. I think we ought to give the CND some credit. They apparently did have some demonstration about Chernobyl. They went to one of the British nuclear stations and demonstrated there. Perhaps that's why they're not here today. They're recovering from that. I'll read the petition out, and then in order that people can sign it as quickly as possible, if I can read it out now, you won't all have to each read it as it goes round. It should go round a lot quicker. Yes? We, the undersigned, remain concerned by the accident at the Chernobyl nuclear plant and its effect on the local Ukrainian and worldwide populations. We request that the government of the Soviet Union, A, take all immediate measures to prevent further radioactive contamination and so minimize the health risk it would thus present. B, administer appropriate medical attention to persons harmed by this radiation. C, release complete information on this accident and its consequences. Now that sounds pretty mild, though no doubt to sign such a petition in the Soviet Union would not be considered mild, and would end with whoever signed that might well end up in prison or harassed by the KGB. But I urge everybody to sign it here, please. A brief word, I don't know if the Ukrainian associations here are allowed to send any trucks of supplies to the Ukraine. I know within Poland there are charities from Britain that are sending medicine and food, and I understand the best thing to send, those who are sending to relatives in Poland, are powdered milk and multivitamins, and presumably that would apply also to those people in Ukraine. If you haven't got means of transporting by organised charities or trucks, or the Soviet authorities wouldn't allow it, maybe parcels by post would be allowed to be sent. So if you want to know what to send to your relatives and friends in the Ukraine or elsewhere, those people affected, my understanding is send multivitamins and send powdered milk, and advise everybody to boil their water before they mix it with the powdered milk, because that will remove some of the radiation, though not all of it. Oh, thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, and thank you also for the advice and the express readiness to help in case if we will send some help to Ukraine. Now I would like to invite the representative of the European nuclear disarmament to address the rally as well.
Greetings on behalf of European nuclear disarmament, and I would like to begin this afternoon by expressing to you the profound sympathy and concern of many active in the British anti-nuclear and peace movement for the people of the Ukraine, and in particular the people of Chernobyl and of Kiev. I would like perhaps just to say at this point that there are in fact amongst us today, not as many as we would have liked, but people from CND, from END, from the peace movement, and I would like you to know that we are very much with you and we do support you. I'm sorry, I'm told I'm not speaking quite loud enough. I will try and raise my voice. I want to just say a very few words about the perspective and the work of European nuclear disarmament with our friends and our comrades in Eastern and Central Europe. Because it is very clear from the effect of the Chernobyl disaster that the question of nuclear power, nuclear questions are questions for us all. They affect us all. The radiation cloud from Chernobyl has of course affected most adversely peoples of Poland and of Ukraine, but it has also spread to the rest of Europe. So it's very clear that the issues and the questions concern us all. Now, in the last few years, END has been active in the process of discussion and dialogue with independently minded persons and organizations in Eastern Europe. That means Solidarność in Poland, Charter 77 in Czechoslovakia, the democratic opposition in Hungary, independently minded peace activists in Moscow and Leningrad. We have been involved in discussions about how to come together to find some solution together to the problems that confront us all. So I'd like to offer to you that discussion, that concern for the creation of a nuclear-free Europe, and that means not just, as so often it appears to you perhaps, meaning Western Europe. We're talking about the whole of Europe.